You know, these parents haven't even buried their children yet. And this afternoon, here are a bunch of screeching liberal women calling for the one thing that doesn't work: gun control. And we talked about this yesterday.
We've seen what happens time and again when assault weapons are used. And we also know what happens when they're banned. Lives are saved.
We know what fuels this crisis: assault weapons and high-capacity magazines designed to kill as many people as possible, and sometimes as many children as possible, as quickly as possible.
The fact that these are weapons that are used in war, I know a little bit about that. No one has the capacity to take your life in seconds with weapons that they shouldn't have access to.
Ilhan, spare me your plea about war and gun violence. You know why she fled Somalia? It was because her father was a senior officer in the same military that carried out genocide. And when that government collapsed over there, people wanted revenge on people like your dad for genocide. So spare me your understanding of war and gun violence. And to that woman who said, lives are saved when assault weapons are banned. Oh boy, who wants to tell her that hammers kill more people than AR-15s every year? Do your research if you're going to step on this stage with me, lady. All these people equate the 1994 crime crackdown by Clinton, which also simultaneously passed the Brady Bill into temporary assault rifle ban, even though assault rifles aren't a thing. Crime did, in fact, go down dramatically in wake of that crime bill, but it had nothing to do with banning AR-15s. It had everything to do with enforcing laws, which ironically liberals are fighting Trump on doing right now. You know who also got elected in 1994? Oh, right, Rudy Giuliani, who immediately imposed the broken windows policy, single-handedly cutting murder rates in New York City by almost 70% from 2,000 per year to 600, according to FBI crime stats, making up almost 80% of the murder decrease nationwide single-handedly, less than 1% of which were carried out by AR-15s. By the way, Ilhan. Also, another fun fact, the year the Brady Bill's assault weapon ban expired, homicides also went down, not up, when Americans rushed to buy them. In fact, 6 years after the ban expired, by 2010, there were 2,000 less murders than there were the last year of the assault weapon ban, when at the same time the number of AR-15s in circulation went from 1.8 million to over 6 million. So your narrative, ladies, doesn't line up with the facts. Do they care? No. Also, they found some guy actually out there who bench presses less than Ma'am Danny to give his take.
There is extensive research showing that in jurisdictions with stronger gun safety laws and policies, including limitations and bans on semi-automatic weapons and high-capacity magazines, that in those jurisdictions there are fewer people who die of gun injury.
No, actually, that's not true at all either. I'll give you Chicago, D.C., L.A., that are some of the most violent places to live, and yet have all of your desired gun grabs. Guess what? Didn't help. No, Carl, red states have high gun crime too. Yeah, some do. Jackson, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama, St. Louis, Missouri, Memphis, Tennessee. Yes, in red states, but blue cities. And since policing is a local issue, buddy, and they answer to the mayor of that city, try that. I'd also like to point out that those cities, respectively, are majority black or minority populations, all with very high murder rates, with mostly illegal guns. And yet, and I may have missed this, but I haven't seen any of these liberal women holding press conferences there, especially in those cities, especially when the victims of those gun crimes are children. Matter of fact, more than 50 children were gunned down just in those cities just last year, and yet not one of those anti-gun, white liberal women groups held a single press conference in any one of those cities. That's odd from the same party that watched over $2 billion worth of damage in the name of, what was it? Oh, Black Lives Matter. No? Do you not care because they're black, or do you not care because they weren't killed with AR-15s? I'm just asking. You want to have the argument? Let's go. Oh, does that offend you, libs? You want to debate this issue? Bring it. Come on. You better come with some facts that matter. Look, I'm not giving up my guns, my arms, anything. You're not taking them, and you can't buy them back because they're not for sale. You see, we also have this thing called the Constitution that has the Bill of Rights attached to it, which clearly states the right to bear arms shall not be infringed, supported by Heller versus D.C. and the New York Bruin case that all say, yes, I have the right to own, carry, possess, collect, keep, stack, hoard, and use firearms at my will. I also couldn't help but notice that these liberal women screeching about banning guns are surrounded by people with guns as they speak, for security. Which also, another fun fact, did you know that the average non-law enforcement legal gun enthusiast civilian shoots significantly more than the standard qualifications which cops go through, which is about 50 rounds a year, given which department it is. In fact, and this headline here it's a little weird. It should read justified shootings if you read the article rather than homicides, but it's Harvard, and I think it was an agenda-driven study that inadvertently made the case for armed civilians. But in this recent Harvard study, they found that civilians, when engaged in lawful gun discharges, use less and more accurate shots to stop the perpetrator. The study noting, quote, they found that victims, again, this should be perpetrators, but coming from Harvard, whatever, quote, shot and killed by police had an average of 6 bullet wounds, while victims shot and killed by civilians had an average of 4, which conclusively Democrats that an armed citizenry is actually safer. But these squawking liberals will never acknowledge that. And this is my problem. When are Republicans, when are us rational-minded people going to go on the offense against these liberal tyrants? They are so agenda-driven that they have an entire political party right now that is advocating for literally more crime. Pritzker had 6 murders this weekend and refuses to take any federal help. They're actually advocating for child labor of weed farms in California. The left spazzed when ICE raided underage field workers. They're advocating for waste, fraud, and abuse. Look at how much they hate DOJ, keeping MS-13 gang members who beat their wives, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Man, they are for pedophilia. They are literally trying to normalize pedophilia, rebranding it as minor attracted person. Nope, hard pass. No protection of children. They talk about it all the time. Forget allowing naked drag queens twerking in front of their faces in elementary school. Biden sent 300,000 immigrant minors to live with unvetted and unrelated adult homes, some with restaurants and storage facilities as the address of record. But these people are standing there on stage before the bodies of kids that were shot yesterday or even cold, and they're saying they care about children? Pound sand. They're attacking Christian prayer, too.
Frankly, I think they're incredibly insensitive and disrespectful to the tens of millions of Americans of faith across this country who believe in the power of prayer, who believe that prayer works, and who believe that in a time of mourning like this, when beautiful young children were killed while praying in a church, it's utterly disrespectful.
But those same liberals criticizing Christian Catholic prayer are oddly silent on the Islamic call for prayer being played on loudspeakers 5 times a day in the very city this happened in. That's an entire side of the political spectrum advocating for all these crazy things. The same thing with gun control. Why are we letting a bunch of liberal women try to take away guns from a bunch of people like me who went and used those guns to defend their right to say whatever they want? Why are we not going on the social offense so these types of people don't dare try to take away the thing that we cherish and love and are constitutionally endowed with, not to mention protects them as well? You don't like that? You don't like guns? Don't call a cop next time you're in danger.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.